Hey, didn't see you there.
Hey, Rob, could you take a look at this?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this little guy? Look how pale he is. Like he's never seen the sun before.
Yeah, now that you mention it, look at the bags under his eyes.
Yeah, he smells like rot.
Yeah, it's that kind of smell when you wear the same shirt every day.
And doesn't wash it.
This guy seems pretty zombie, all right.
Totes.
Hey, I am a soulful, living human being.
Yeah, I mean, we could just open his skull and check for brains.
Did somebody say brains?
Now that's a zombie. Hey, sorry about that, cousin. From far away, you look kind of alive.
Yeah, and to make it up to you, you can hitch a ride with us to the big zombie meetup.
Every zombie who's any zombie's gonna be there. Well, except for the fake ones.
Who we kill for being fake zombies.
Haven't packed yet.
There's no time for that. Our flight leaves really soon.
Wait a minute. Where is the zombie meetup? Goodbye, my bedroom. Hello, Hollywood.
Okay, so since this is your first zombie gathering, you need to make a good first impression. Did you bring any brains or something?
I left them in my other pants.
Oh, there might be a cactus with some brains in it or something.
You guys are totally late for the meeting.
Sorry, Disco. TSA was terrible.
I'm sorry, you cannot bring that on the plane.
Why not?
Hey, who's that new zombie guy?
I'm just that new zombie guy.
Well, nice to meet you, new zombie guy. I'm the football zombie. Welcome to the Zom Show, bro. That's Buckethead, Disco Zombie, Newspaper Zombie, Zomboner, Backup Dancer, Balloon. Yeah, what kind of zombie are you, newbie? What kind of skills you got?
My skills? Yeah, I'm, the tier list zombie.
Hey, calm down, cool cats. Tier list can have a use for us. Like, maybe you can rank us so we can better fight the plants.
Well, so when it comes to ranking the zombies, it's a little more tricky than something like the plants. Plants are simple. Which ones are on average better against most zombies or are really powerful against tough zombies? You don't really get that with the zombies as they don't really counterpick the plants in the same way. It's like rock, paper, scissors, but you go second. You only lose if you're a sadist. Each zombie has some sort of direct weakness and can be counterpicked, while the plants in most modes can't unless you count iZombie or the versus mode for consoles. Both of which don't use all the zombies or in the same ways as they are in the other levels. And unless you're playing either of those two modes, zombies don't have any form of cost. You could theoretically just spam Gargantuars, which Plants vs. Zombies 2 knows all too well. There's unfortunately just not a really great way to rank all of these guys on a fair scale.
Wait, so you're a tier list zombie who can't even make a tier list?
Yeah, maybe we should kill him. Well, first up is the
Default Zombie, a classic zombie with a fantastic design. A baseline for what's to come, as there's not a single zombie worse than the traditional brown coat in the majority of scenarios. It has no special abilities, doesn't go particularly quick, and is tied for the least amount of health of any zombie. Anything he can do, some other zombie can do better. Just a reminder to not hide what makes you special, or else you might also end up in F tier. Flag Zombie is an interesting zombie because his stats are exactly the same as a normal zombie. He's just a bit more peppy and eager to take hits. But if we take into consideration Flag Zombie's indirect ability, or if you're in versus mode, his direct ability, it's that he marks the arrival of the huge wave of zombies, where a bunch of zombies come to attack and can often be one of the most dangerous points in a level. A huge wave of zombies difficulty really changes depending on where you are in the game and what zombies it decides to send and where. It could send a huge wave of powerful zombies early in a match before your guard is up, or Doom Shroom food. The Flag Zombie may not be the strongest zombie in terms of their own ability, but they may represent something more.
I believe he represents how a single person can start a great movement, even if they themselves aren't any better, faster, stronger, or smarter than those around them. The flag zombie is still enough to make a change, just by being a brave enough soul to lead those like-minded to a singular common goal. A true testament to how a single human or zombie can create a huge wave.
C tier. The Conehead on the surface is the first level up defensively for the default zombie. More health than the brown coat, but less than the Buckethead. But in the overall scale of all zombies, Conehead actually has quite the above average health, which can hurt, especially during setup, which could cause you to divide focus earlier than expected. Though he still gets outclassed by most zombies due to him having no special abilities, movement, or extreme health. He does have one thing that makes him better than some of the heaviest hitting zombies in the game though, and that's his survivability against Magnetshroom and Spike Rock. As besides Gargantuars, Conehead Zombie is the zombie with the most health that can get through something like this. And that's gotta be worth something. C tier. Next up is a zombie who's master of the pole. No, not that one. No, not that one! The pole vaulting zombie is the first zombie in the game with any sort of special ability besides more health. Not only like most special zombies does he have slightly more health than the brown coat, but he also has the ability to pole vault over the first plant he makes it to. This can easily counter any walnuts or pumpkins if your plants are pushed way up, or if you don't have the DPS to take him out quickly enough before he can rip holes in your defense. This can be easily countered though in many ways, such as 2 layers of walls, using tall nuts, or putting down literally any plant in front of it before it reaches your defense. In huge waves, this can be difficult, but for story mode, this strategy is crazy simple. Though the pole vaulting zombie has another trick up his jorts in his increased movement speed before he jumps. On one hand, it gives him less time on screen to be hit by attacks, but on the other, he will, a lot of the time, run in front of other zombies who can body block for him, causing him to enter grave mode early. Overall, a zombie that at the very least you need to be aware of when planning your defense. B tier. This is a Buckethead Zombie. Dear God. The Buckethead Zombie is a very defensive zombie, tied for the 3rd most amount of health in the game. This guy, unless you can get into super high levels of play, will always be an annoyance, if not for anything else than his ability to body block hits for other zombies. But obviously, taking more hits also lets him get further up and have a better chance of eating your plants. Besides the universal equalizers, he does have one weakness in the Magnetshroom, much like many of the other zombies. But especially for Buckethead, through the story mode, you don't have access to Magnetshroom until very late in the game, leaving you with having to out-damage these guys, and they show up everywhere and all the time. A simple, yet top-tier zombie. A tier. This crotchety old fool I used to think was tough, but he's just bad. The newspaper zombie is a zombie who has a newspaper shield that, when destroyed, gets pissed as he will never know the punchline to this week's Garfunkel and Friends. Once he exits his state of shock, his speed gets a huge increase in both movement and his ability to eat plants. Now this may sound like a good zombie on paper, but the newspaper zombie himself has such low base health. Even if you aren't using a fume/gloom shroom or spike weed/rock or a plant that can hit him from the back or any of the catapults which completely destroy the zombie before he's even finished the headline on today's times, you can easily kill him while he's frozen in shock from most other damaging plants. He's honestly worse than the normal zombie in most circumstances other than Walnut Bowl. F tier.
You know, I'd be pissed at that statement if it weren't for these funny antics of Calvin and Hobbes.
The screen door zombie is silly. He's a Buckethead mixed with the newspaper zombie, as he has a shield with the same durability as the bucket, but unlike the bucket, whose only weakness is Magnetshroom, this one is weak to Magnetshroom and all the weaknesses of newspaper zombie, which, if you remember, is quite full. Though unlike Newspaper Zombie, Screen Door does have more base health and shield health, so he can be a slight bit trickier to deal with if you decide to only use Puff Shrooms, Scaredy Shrooms, Pea Shooters, and the Cactus. D tier. Next, we have, the Sports Ball Zombie.
And here we fucking go.
What?
Here comes the bit where some scrawny ass, pale ass, socially inept nerd who gets winded crawling out of his LED 32GB RAM gaming chair is gonna make fun of anyone who enjoys watching any kind of sports by describing it in the most over-the-top, hyper-detailed way when they themselves get fucking pissed when someone makes fun of them for having 13,000 hours in Wizards 101.
That's Final Fantasy 14 Online.
I bet your Final Fantasy is to meet 14-year-olds online, you four eyes.
Well, what I actually was about to say is that the All-Star
Zombie, with his potent speed and having the second highest defense, are one of the most formidable zombies in the entire franchise, despite having a magnet shroom weakness. So much so that in its introductory level, it expects you to beat it with a one-shot plant. S tier.
Okay, sorry about what I said, but, I hope this guy can make you feel a little better, right? Isn't he a little cute? Aww.
Great news, everyone! They killed Michael Jackson again with the Disco Zombie. The Disco Zombie struts onto the scene, immediately skipping over one tile. He then summons 4 backup dancer zombies, one in each cardinal direction, who have the same stats as a normal zombie. This applies constant pressure, as these backup dancer zombies can also spawn past certain plants, potentially getting past your walnuts, can body block for the Disco Zombie, and since they spawn closer, you don't have as much time to damage them before they get a chomping. I think Disco busts down with a B, while the backups get down with the D. Next is the Ducky Tube Zombie, which is just a normal zombie who can travel in the pool tiles. They come in an array of flavors, from Conehead to Buckethead, but we'll only be putting the normal one on the list. Though each version is relative to where Ducky Tube is compared to the brown coat, and that is right above it. But the pool tiles take a little more prep to get set up, as they need lily pads for all their plants, and these zombies can spawn some tiles up during the huge wave of zombies. So it's just barely higher than normal for all 3 versions, but normal Ducky Tube goes in F. I mean, they can't even live on land. Snorkel Zombie is the first special pool zombie, and his whole deal is that he hides under the water, making him immune to straight shot attacks like pea shooter, repeaters, three-peaters, snow peas, puff shrooms. Well, that seems like most things at the point that Snorkel shows up, and you won't have a reliable way of doing damage to it underwater until you get the Pults, which come in after you're done seeing any Snorkel zombies in adventure mode. The way the game gives you to deal with them is the 25 Sun Tangle Kelp, but the game also gives you another 25 Sun plant that can help deal with it almost just as easily. The Lily Pad. Putting a lily pad down will let this guy pop up his little head, hopefully long enough for your defenses to take care of him with his very little health. If one lily pad isn't enough by itself, you can always put down a wall, attacking plant, or even a sleeping puff shroom to stall it out. Snorkel might be able to snatch a plant or two, but he really shouldn't be a threat unless your pool is extremely unprepared, especially after you get access to the Pults after adventure mode. D tier. Ho ho ho, besties! Christmas came early this year with the Zomboni.
Hey, the Zomboni is just a machine. We Zomboners have gone through many trials and certifications to operate such heavy pieces of equipment.
The Zomboner drives his Zomboni onto your lawn, instantly destroying any plants it runs over, and leaves a trail of ice in its path, making it impossible to plant anything there until it thaws. Who knew a machine for resurfacing ice rinks could be so destructive?
They do what?
The Zomboni itself also has as much health as a Buckethead Zombie, so unless you use an instant kill or have some extreme firepower like the game wants you to use on its introductory level, it'll probably get a tile or two in. Though the Zomboni has one huge glaring weakness in spike weed and spike rocks, whose spikes will pop the tires and instantly destroy the Zomboni.
I hate those damn weeds.
You know what you need? Something taking care of those damn weeds.
Yeah, something like a Zomboni that, like, shoots fire.
Oh, Fire Boney could work.
A fire bony? I like the sound of that. And with that fire bony, I will be invincible. No brain will be safe from this fire boner. And I gotta be an S tier.
Yeah.
The Zombie Bobsled team is a zombie you honestly might not see in your entire game, as they only spawn in on the ice from the Zomboni. So if you're quick to take out the Zombonis, they just wait outside the fence. Never to get their turn, I guess. The team consists of 4 normal zombies who have a brief bit of shield from their bobsled and start a little further down the lane thanks to them sliding in on the ice from the Zomboner.
What am I hearing? Is that the Zomboni coming in clutch yet again? Support, tank, and DPS. Is there anything that I can't do?
Get some bitches.
There are a lot of them to body block if you don't use Fume/Gloom Shroom, so that's a plus, but altogether, they still don't even match the health of a single Buckethead. They're more of a novelty than a threat. D tier. For the final pool exclusive zombie, we have the Dolphin Rider Zombie, which is just the pole vaulting zombie but for the pool. Though it being in the pool gives it a huge buff and a minor debuff. The minor debuff is much like the Snorkel Zombie, you can just place a cheap lily pad to bait its ability. Though the Dolphin Rider Zombie is much faster than the pole vaulting zombie. Easily the fastest zombie in the game before he gets off his dolphin. He can be so fast that if he jumps over a squash in the last row, the squash won't even have enough time to kill it before he activates your pool cleaners or eats your brains. So with slow reaction time or being hidden by fog or not having the sun, the lily pad strat could be easily missed. And with his dolphin, the rider can get up into your plants way faster than the others, giving him less time to be damaged by your plants. Plus, he can jump over any wall besides tall nuts you may have, and with slightly more health than the average zombie, he'll usually have time to snag a quick plant or two, or maybe even wipe out the whole row depending on how prepared you were. So even though he's essentially the same as Pole Vault, Dolphin Rider excels a lot more in the place he's at, putting him into A tier. Also, the Dolphin is a zombie too, so A tier too, I guess. They're like 2 peas and a split pea, you know what I'm saying? Jack in the Box brings a very random, goofy, quirky Ted Kaczynski Raw X3 vibe to the function. He plays a Jack in the Box that will randomly explode himself and all plants in a 3x3 square around him. Basically an evil cherry bomb. The Jack-in-the-Box won't go off if you regrave him in time, but the Jack-in-the-Box zombie also has some other tricks. He's faster and has slightly more health than a normal zombie, on one hand allowing him to get closer to your plants before exploding, but on the other he oftentimes walks in front of other zombies who could keep him safe by body blocking for him. Defeating him quickly is key, as 95% of the time he can go off anywhere between 13 and 23 seconds, making him very unpredictable, but also very manageable. Even in the fog levels where you can't see him, you'll know that he's on the stage by his trap cover of Pop Goes the Weasel, so he's very unlikely to go unnoticed. But it can be very scary when you hear his theme song in the fog where you don't know where he is. He also has a huge weakness to the Magnet Shroom, as it will steal away the only facet of sanity this guy has left, without blowing it up. Throughout playing Adventure Mode twice, I never had one of these guys blow up naturally. 13 seconds is actually quite a lot of time to kill it for most defenses. However, you eagle-eared listeners probably noticed that earlier I said it only goes off in the 13 to 23 second window 95% of the time. Well, that's because 5% of the time, the Jack-in-the-Box zombie will explode within 4 to 7 seconds of showing up. Extremely hard to defeat that quickly, which can be the Achilles heel to almost any strategy. Not usually all that great, but can often surprise you. B tier.
There's a bomb strapped to my chest! I thought any zombie who is any zombie was supposed to be here. Where is everyone?
You know, gathering a bunch of zombies for a big convention is really hard. You know, with jobs, families, and other commitments, sometimes you just can't have a trip with all the zomboys.
Yeah, we're still gonna kill them after this week.
Jack in the Box is here though, he's just in the other room.
Oh shit! Oh, I'm gonna fall off this! Saved it! Like a boss! Look at this for expert driving!
The Balloon Zombie is a hard zombie to rank because it is single-handedly the most overpowered zombie in the entire game, with the ability to fly over every single plant on the field. It can't be hit by peas, spores, pults, or even most instants, though Balloon Zombie has a crippling weakness that makes it useless, almost useless, if you're prepared, which is placing down any of these 3 plants. If you know it's coming, which you definitely should, the worst trouble it will give you is, unless you are sun-starved, is wasting a seed slot on a balloon counter. Also, imagine being weak to the cactus. A tier.
Okay, I am invincible against 99% of plants. I deserve so much more respect.
The Digger Zombie, despite being a minor zombie, is anything but a minor zombie.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Miney's old enough to drink while driving.
That's not what I meant, and that's not what that means.
Get to a certain age, it does.
He's a zombie that wields a pickaxe and not a shovel. He mines, not digs.
Hi, I'm Blooper from Mario Kart Item. I'm here to inform you that yes, you can dig with a pickaxe. Viddy is just a stupid nerd who gets all his real-world knowledge from video games. Loop on, everybody.
Though he actually does neither, as he uses reverse necromancy to put himself back into the ground. And then he mines underneath your lawn to get to the other side of your defenses. Once there, it's an easy shot to your house and your brains. There's hardly any plants that can shoot backwards at him, especially quick enough before he goes into your house. But he doesn't. Despite the primary goal being to get your brains, the miner turns around and starts attacking your plants from the back. Despite purposely nerfing himself, Miney still makes himself a huge threat to your lawn by flanking your back line. And even with a single split pea, the plant designed to counter this guy, he can usually still get at least one sun producer or really powerful plant you put in the back for safekeeping. Though he does have some weaknesses. Like most zombies, he has a huge weakness to magnet shroom, with him losing his efficiency 4 iron pickaxe and having to dig up with his bare hand wherever he's at. Him being underground also means he's ripe for the picking for potato mines, and with his mediocre amount of health, he can't stand long against a split pea or a star fruit. But overall, he can still provide a threat if you're unprepared. A tier. Pogo is basically a pole vaulting zombie, but doesn't lose his pole after jumping, and can have his pogo removed with science. Still weak to Tall Nut, he's basically just better pole vault, but with an extra weakness. One thing I did learn, however, is that while he's on his pogo stick, he's also immune to Chomper, which I just think is really funny. Him just evading Chomper with some sweet ass tricks? B tier. One zombie that's going to be a hard one to catch, though, is the Yeti Zombie, an elusive hairy zombie with a sponsorship to a thermos company. The Yeti comes out very rarely, and even when he does, he serves as more of a quick reward as anything, as he'll try and sneak away after a couple of seconds and drops gems upon defeat. This zombie, despite his elusiveness, is never really a threat. Unlike the Bungee Zombie, a zombie who is constantly trying to chase that feeling of being alive they got before rigor mortis. They briefly mark a plant with an X, and after a couple seconds will bungee down to prepare to steal it. Where are they bungeeing from? They ominously hover over your plants for 3 seconds, giving you time to kill it, freeze it, or something. But with more health than most zombies and only 3 seconds to react, most of the time these guys can't be stopped before they abduct a plant. The plant they target is random and can be in any column, so they can target that twin sunflower or wintermelon just as much as a plant pot. They also have the ability to drop other zombies in closer to your backline, and was the zombie who captured Crazy Dave, the new leader of the free world. Despite all that, they have one huge, blaring weakness in Umbrella Leaf, whose only purpose is to absolutely dunk on these thrill seekers. Though the umbrella does come at the cost of a seed packet slot, being useless besides warding bungees, as well as one other surprise we'll mention later, and the greater cost of uneven lanes. So even despite that huge weakness, I'd say with all this, the bungee really does deserve an A tier. Ladder Zombie is up next, and much like how Pogo is level 2 pole vault, Ladder is level 2 screen door. Same weakness in Magnet Shroom and Fume Shroom / Spikeweed. However, Ladder Zombie tries to get his job over with, as he's still got 4 more roofs to look at today, so he speeds towards your defenses with haste, and he can even set up his ladder to permanently let zombies walk over your walls. Tall Nut be damned. These ladders can be destroyed by Magnet Shroom or explosives, but it's still just flat out annoying. B tier. Catapult Zombie is a zombie that somehow got his stupid basketball slinger onto a roof. Whenever he comes onto the screen, he crushes any plants directly in front of his hot rod, much like the Zomboni, with the same weaknesses as such. Catapult Zombie will stay in the back lane and lob basketballs into your defenses, doing damage to your backline plants without having to get past the ones in the front. It's an annoying mechanic to be sure, but with the umbrella leaves you should already have up for bungee, they will bounce away any basketballs this guy lobs. Though you gotta keep an eye on this guy, as when he runs out of ammo, he runs through the lane much like the Zomboni, a much more effective strategy. Don't know why he didn't lead with that. This can actually be a bit tough to deal with if he gets going, which he oftentimes will, since other zombies will body block him if your offenses aren't good enough. Though he is a sitting duck for a large time he's on screen, which makes him honestly not as urgent to deal with as the Zomboni, so this guy deserves A tier. The Gargantuar is S tier. Nobody should have expected any different. He's got a mountain of health, one of the only zombies to be able to take 2 explosion. He one-shots any plant he comes across, including tall nut, pumpkin, besides spike rock for some reason.
It's the damn plant from the Antichrist, I'll tell you what.
Aren't you a zombie?
Not only is it the strongest and tankiest zombie of the bunch, but when he reaches half health, he launches an imp into your back row. The imp being the direct opposite of the Gargantuar, having low health but being faster and gets launched straight into the heart of your defenses at the 3rd column, causing you to be attacked from 2 points and can add a lot of pressure on your defenses despite not being the bulkiest himself. The imp flies straight into B tier. And this is it. I have ranked every single Plants vs. Zombies zombie.
What about me?
Who the frink said that?
The Invisible Zombie? You know, from the Invisible Zombie minigame?
Well, I didn't know we were counting Minigame Zombies.
Yeah, you guys never do. You know, just because I don't show up very often, pun intended by the way, doesn't mean I deserve to be forgotten, okay?
Invisible, calm down. You probably just forgot because, you know.
Yeah, say it. Because I'm what?
You're shy.
Yeah, because I'm an introvert. Everyone just assumes that because I don't talk a lot that I don't want to be included.
I don't want to be here.
Well, I'll show you. Rank me. Now.
Okay, the Invisible Zombie is just like the normal zombie, but also can come in forms of Conehead and Buckethead, and all the way up to Dolphin Rider Zombie. They're just a little bit harder to figure out where they are, so they should go into C tier.
Hey, C tier. I mean, I can live with that. Sorry about all that. I just haven't had my morning coffee.
Oh, it's okay, you're all good. And you know, you've really opened up my eyes to how ignored the special minigame zombies can go in today's society.
Finally, someone gets it. And I thought that I would have made this minigame zombie awareness poster for nothing.
Is it invisible?
Yeah, but that's why it's in Braille.
The PvZ minigames mostly take zombies from the existing game instead of adding new ones. Sometimes they will change minor things like drastically lowering the imp's health in iZombie or making them really small, weaker, but faster, as in the case with Big Trouble Little Zombie. Though, this can only be played as a conveyor belt level with only a handful of pretty basic plants and cherry bombs. So if any of these zombies are struggling against one pea shooter, guess where they're going? Though all of the most unique minigame zombies happen to come from the game modes Zombotany and Zombotany 2, a mode where the zombies have the abilities and heads of certain plants.
You know, we don't really associate with a lot of those plant zombie guys. Just a lot of us have PTSD. You know, plant TSD.
Those guys make me sick. I'm glad they're not here so I can legally kill them.
Sure, we have common goals, but I don't want to go anywhere near those freaks. Having a plant for a head is something different.
You're a zombie.
Oh my gosh.
There are 6 types of Zombotany zombies, based off of pea shooter, Gatling pea, walnut, tall nut, jalapeno, and squash. The pea shooter zombie fires peas at your plants as they walk, so even just by being on the screen, they can damage your plants, pushing you to use walls way more than usual. This immediate damaging of plants could also lead to sun starvation by taking out your sunflowers before you get your defenses up, and generally making the pea shooter zombie one of the most dangerous zombies outright. Though they don't have a lot of health, much like a brown coat, and have another glaring weakness. Our little solution to everything, the puff shroom, who is so small, the peas actually shoot over him, allowing him to damage these guys freely, though they still deserve the A tier. Also, Gatling pea zombie is pea shooter zombie, but Gatling, S tier. Next up is the Walnut Zombie, which despite looking super cute, is just a reskinned Buckethead, but without the Magnet Shroom weakness, aka its only weakness, A tier. Tallnut is the Walnut Zombie with over half the health of a Gargantuar. Yeah, S tier. Now, the final 2 Zombotany zombies, while being some of the most OP plants themselves, are pretty mediocre zombies. They do the same thing as their plant counterpart. Squash squishes a plant in front of it, and Jalapeno burns the whole row with themselves in the process. Squash has the same amount of health as a normal brown coat zombie, so he isn't hard to defeat before he gets to your plants, and you can take him out instantly by baiting him with a cheap plant like Puff Shroom or Potato Mine. C tier. But Jalapeno Zombie, though with a much more dangerous effect of clearing an entire row, I've never had it naturally go off. It only shows up past the halfway mark of Zombotany 2, and by that point your defenses should be good enough to take it out before it self-destructs. Like apparently, a single cactus. Unless it's blocked by something like Tallnut Zombie and you aren't using anything with splash damage, it's pretty easy to take care of. And without that fiery zest, it's just a normal zombie with slightly more health and a little bit of a scarier face just because there's a chance it might go off. In reality, it's just a stronger, slower Jack-in-the-Box zombie that can't be stolen with Magnet Shroom, making him slightly harder to get rid of. C tier.
And with that, we've ranked every single zombie.
Forgot Trash Can Zombie.
What?
Trash Can Zombie. You know, the one with the trash can?
Only a fake zombie would forget one of their own, which we all are, by the way.
Yeah, I was just joking. The Trash Can Zombie carries a trash can.
You know, you can't argue when he's right.
The Trash Can Zombie is a zombie that you may have never heard of, because in the Game of the Year edition for Steam and on mobile, he's more elusive than the Yeti, because bro wasn't invited. This zombie is only available in the console versions of Plants vs. Zombies, Xbox, PlayStation, and DS. His whole bit is he carries around a huge trash can that slows him down, but doubles as a shield that blocks a lot of health, but not as much health as the screen door. And he still has all of the weaknesses as the screen door. He is just a worse screen door. Why does he exist? Why create a new zombie just for him to be trash and hold trash and be trash? Well, it may have to be that this zombie only appears in games with the versus mode and has an ability that is very versus mode centric. Its slower movement speed actually helps it out a fair bit when protecting your brain producers and targets as zombies, as it'll take longer for him to get to any potato mines or squashes that would normally be cheap answers to other walls like the Buckethead, actually giving Trash Can an odd niche. But since we aren't really counting versus mode, he's just trash. F tier. And since we talked about trash, we might as well knock out any nook and cranny. The target zombie is the plant win con in the versus modes, as when the plant destroys 3 of these target zombies' targets, they win the match. And the target zombies don't do anything about it. They just stand there. It's like getting these brains as some kind of joke to them. F tier. We also have 2 more zombies exclusive to the Home Run Derby minigame, only in the often overlooked Nintendo DS version, in all its low-resolution glory. There's the Catapult Baseball Zombie who launches basketballs. It's a catapult zombie, but never runs out of basketballs and never drives forward. It in fact gives you the only way of getting sun in the minigame, making it, as far as I know, the only zombie who is purely helpful to the player. F tier for friend. The other zombie who is not a friend is the normal baseball zombie who runs towards your house and gets faster as you get more home runs. The only plants you have to defend yourself in this minigame are one-shot plants and walnuts, so hell, this guy could have 1800 health and we just never know. Though in its only appearance, it is a bit of a threat, as if you don't have enough sun or bonk it on the head with a basketball, their increased speed could get up into your chewing chompers or your house. But typically this zombie is no home run. He goes in D tier for Derby of the home run variety. I'm gonna briefly mention but not rank these zombies that were used in media outside of the games because they were never actually in the game. Because I know if I didn't, somebody was gonna bring up the Angel and Gnome zombies who were used on the mobile version menus. Beach and Space Zombie in the PvZ free version achievement icons. Then from the DSiWare Plants vs. Zombies trailer, we have Caveman, Tan, Fly, and Young Newspaper Zombie. Okay, don't know if that one should count. And also Naked Zombie, because he's a whole new zombie now. His meat be swangin'! Oh, there's the Sweaty Yeti Zombie. It's the Yeti Zombie with sunglasses. Oh, the Queen Zombies were in ads parodying those weird mobile game ads that promised boobs but gave spyware. Oh, can't forget about the Imp in the Roller Skate Zombie. Or Shorty Imp! Magician Zombie, who's just a random cardboard cutout in PopCap's office. There's the Zombie Worm, who's just chilling in the dirt. Dracula Zombie from a PopCap Facebook post, not to be confused with the Vimp from PvZ Heroes, or the Vampire Imp, which is a separate zombie who, along with Frankenstein Zombie, shows up in the Plants vs. Zombies American Dental Association collab PSA music video. this is as far as I go. And for the final in-game PvZ1 zombies, we have the Giga Zombies. With Giga Gargantuar, a Gargantuar with even more health that shows up in endless modes. And guess where he goes? And with Giga Football Zombie, a football zombie with the exact health as a Gargantuar and would obviously go in S tier. However, Giga Football Zombie only shows up in 2 versions of Plants vs. Zombies. Plants vs. Zombies Social Edition, an online Chinese version of the game that lasted from June 2011 to September 2014, and on Plants vs. Zombies Web Edition. Squash, a Flash-based version of the game available on Pogo and PopCap's websites that let you play up to level 2-2 or 2-4 if you were on PopCap's website specifically. But as you may know from playing these levels in other versions of the game, they do not have the Giga Football Zombie and would certainly not show up before the level you get to use Gravebuster. But Web Edition also featured 2 other modes, Vase Breaker and Survival Endless, both modified to be extremely weird. And considering the strongest zombie you could encounter naturally at this point in the game was Buckethead, throwing in Giga Football Zombie was an interesting choice. But after playing the game, it obviously couldn't handle much more.
Oh, there he is. Let's see if we can get him exploding.
Nope. So having a unique, really strong but simple boss monster to make Endless harder actually makes sense, and it is by far the strongest zombie in that game. However, Web Edition, using Flash, is no longer up, with the only versions of this zombie left being restricted to extremely dedicated areas of internet media preservation. Giga Football Zombie can only go into the tier of lost souls. And with that, I have thoroughly and completely ranked every single
You're forgetting one more.
Who could I possibly be forgetting?
Only the best and clearly most S tier zombie of all. Professor Edgar Zombies. The only real boss zombie with over a lot of health. And with summon zombie abilities. And a big foot. And a big car attack.
That's a big fire bony!
I mean, yeah. You're alright.
Alright. I'm only the biggest and the scariest and the strongest of them and the craziest of them all.
Yeah, but the only level that you're in is a conveyor belt level.
They always give you the plants you need without having to worry about sun or setup or picking your plants. All zombies would feel the same if the game gave you every plant you needed to directly counter it with no sun cost. Sure, his RV attack is strong, but Zomboss himself will never be the one to steal your brains, just his lackeys. In fact, the biggest threats of the level are the other zombies, and to top it all off, the final level is fairly easy. You just freeze the fireballs, melt the ice balls, and you're pretty much good. Any difficulty I've seen anyone have in this level is just lack of RNG. There's no real strategy to figure out. So honestly, Zomboss is kind of like a B tier, maybe even C.
C tier? C tier? You, what's your name?
Tier list zombie.
Tier list zombie? That's obviously not a real zombie. You are quite clearly, obviously, a human in disguise.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
Okay. Secretly a human says what?
Huh?
Well, if he's truly a zombie, then where is he on the zombie tier list?
Is this true, guy? After all we've been through?
Who is this guy again?
Yes, it's true. I am a human. I only pretended to be a zombie to save my hide, but after getting to know all of you, I've learned that there is so much more to you guys than being vicious, brain-eating murderers. I feel like I understand you all on a deeper level now, and despite our levels of aliveness, I'm really hoping that we can set aside our differences and be friends.
Ah, my own bones!
Everybody dance now.
Whoa!
Ain't nobody messing with the zomboner. You're as good as dead, Fakey. But you wait just 1 sec.
Finally, I'm home free. I forgot about the invisible zombie.
And for the last time, considering you're about to lose your brains.
Get away from me. You know, Invisible Zombie, you and I are too different. I often also feel invisible by the world. Like, people don't really truly see me for who I am.
Everybody die now.